Hi, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA here today again with Mr. Colby Thicknesse, talking about the big fight coming up between Israel Adesanya and Rob Whittaker. Take two. Should be a good fight, man. I'm very much looking forward to it. What about you?
Oh man, I'm absolutely stoked for this fight. It's a shame due to the COVID situation, everything that we have to wait a little bit longer than what we would have liked to. But do you see these two sort of high level guys run it back, sort of the two at the pinnacle of their division, and they've both been from the Oceanic region. It's going to be awesome.
Speaking of fighters from the Oceanic region, I can see you looking a bit seedy today there, Colby. Was that because of Volk's going away party, going off to his fight overseas?
Let's just say a few beverages were consumed. So, correct.
you gotta do it sometimes, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Anyway, man, this fight's been done before, so we know that Israel Adesanya has the power to take Rob Whittaker out if he can get his timing and smash him like he did last time. But can he do it? That's the thing. Watching it again today, I watched it quite a few times in the week, and I was just thinking, in that fight, Whittaker was very affected psychologically, I believe. And when you watch him fight, he was trying to put everything to every punch, like he really was headhunting and wanting to take him out, I guess, because of that psychological sort of warfare they were having.
Yeah, exactly right. I think what Rob needed to do was, well, hopefully he does in his next one, is he needs to mix up his combinations and everything. Like you're saying, it was very sort of emotional going into that, where he was doing his blitzes and everything really well, even with his fakes and that. But still, everything at the end of a combination, at the start of a combination, was coming at Izzy's head. And Izzy's movement, his time, and even his eyes, they're so good at, if you're just throwing at his head, he's going to be able to get reads and get the counters. And that's what we saw at the start of the fight. Rob was able to sort of clip Izzy on the end of a few punches. I think he got him not much at all, but he still touched him like two or three times. But as soon as Izzy got the time, and he put him down at the end of a round and then put him out for good at the start of the second. So, like, you can't really sort of go with that strategy again if you're Whittaker. Just try and hope headhunting is going to get Izzy out of there, because it's not going to work.
I think Rob's pretty much used to being the superior striker in his matchups, and in this case, you would say he's maybe just a beat behind Israel. And exactly what you said with he's doing these attacks, and then I feel like every time he attacked, there was a bit of a pause at the end when I'd really like to see him mix it up and at least threaten the takedown, threaten the grapple, or even shoot for a double leg or single leg or whatever, just to put pressure and start to get Israel thinking, other than just being a stand-up striking match, because that's what he excels at.
Yeah, spot on. Like, as you know, Izzy's probably got the best stand-up out of everyone in the UFC, technically. So for Rob to go in there, I think he's going to outstrike him. It's good to think he has that confidence in himself and his ability. But sometimes you got to be realistic. Like, you just can't headhunt with Izzy. You're going to have to start throwing kicks at the end of your combinations if he's circling now, if his head's not there. Start chopping the body. Starting combinations low, then throwing the kicks up high and trying to mix him and catch Izzy off guard like that. You just can't do everything linear with a blitz in. Try and hit the head. You need to get some lateral movement in there, which Rob doesn't do a lot of, but I think it could really work for his advantage if he can. Or he needs to do the opposite, and he needs to actually sort of take the back foot and let Izzy try and work his way in, and then he can sort of try and use some counter wrestling under his punches, like what Blakovic did, where he was waiting, he would fake or he would throw to draw up a counter, then shoot under and get him down that way, which we saw worked twice. And if Rob does get Izzy on his back, I think that's where Rob's going to have sort of the most control of the fight, if he can get him on his back and sort of keep him there and punish him that way.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also that he should try to be as unorthodox as is his style, within his style anyway, because Izzy can read a basic sort of style very easily. So if he can input a few of his things, like he did knee stomps and he was kind of a bit of sideways movement, which is a good thing. But something I also noticed him landing was he was doing like a big kind of step in leg kick, which obviously the timing of it or something was slightly difficult for Izzy to read, because he landed, I think, about three really solid leg kicks, one off the left and I think two off the right. And I think that's something you could look at doing. And if he can land some big leg kicks like that, or even think about some of the calf kicks, he may be able to just slow Izzy down that a little bit. But like you said, he's got to throw in that mix. He's got to at least threaten the takedown within the combinations before, after the combinations, to get Izzy not just basically timing him on everything, because that's what he was doing. He was those just out of the inches away from the head kicks, inches away from many of the punches. Although he got hit a few times, he was reading him and he was improving as the fight progressed. He was starting to get that full read on him by the end of the round. And he even said that to his corner, apparently. He said he went back to the corner and he said, I've got the timing on the right hand. Well, that was what they were concerned about, was Rob's big right hand. But he said he got the timing on the right hand already after the first round, which is ahead of what they'd expected. And apparently they were a little bit worried about that. But obviously he was on spot on because he took him out in the next round.
Yeah, it's crazy just the level Izzy is at, even to use his striking to set up his like defensive wrestling, just using his striking, where we see against someone like Brunson, where he's so good at using his striking to maintain the range and distance. So it makes it harder for Brunson to actually shoot in. And that's where he can walk into knees and everything like that. I think Rob would have the strength advantage. Plus, I think he is a little bit more explosive and a little bit more athletic in that. So that being said, I think he still can't rely on just getting a big shot. He needs to set out well. He either needs to make Izzy sort of come in and overcommit and shoot, or he needs to get Izzy on the back foot and as he's circling out, try and cut him off with a takedown or something like that. Or even if he can just try and show up and maybe just try and sort of pressure him down and walk him towards the fence and sort of cut out of all of Izzy's movement, only let him go sort of left or right against the fence, then try and do a clinch sort of game there and try and see if he can wear him out against the fence that way.
Yeah, man. I think I'd also really like to see the situation where Izzy gets taken down or falls down and ends up with Rob on top of him, because I really think that's where we'll see Rob have a serious advantage. I think that's his biggest potential, is on the ground. But the problem is getting to that down, getting him down, getting Izzy down is not an easy task. We've had some high-level wrestlers still haven't been able to get him down or hold him down significantly. So let's see if he has the skills to actually get him down firstly, and if so, does he do well on the ground? What are your thoughts, man?
It's hard to say because we've seen Izzy hit the ground against guys like Blachowicz, but Blachowicz has good, solid jiu-jitsu. He's a good black belt, but he is a lot bigger, and Izzy wasn't doing a lot trying to actually work up and throw the submissions and that. Rob's defensive wrestling is completely on point against Romero, Jacare, everything, like his get-ups, his safety and everything is really good. But still in his career, we haven't seen him use like his offensive wrestling enough to shut down good strikers, purely because he hasn't had to. He's always been sort of the best striker in the exchanges. So a takedown now and then was just to mix it up and add to the striking to make it more sort of complex and hard to read. But I think for Rob to be successful, he actually needs to really rely on a takedown, make it a real MMA fight. Even if he's shooting and he's getting sprawled out on that, at least giving Izzy the different looks and level changes so Izzy can't settle and make it just what he wanted as a first fight, was just pretty much a striking exchange, a kickboxing match with 4-ounce gloves that heavily favors Izzy. So I think, yeah, Rob will need to try and get it to the ground, or at least add in a lot more level changes, looks, and like you said, sort of makes his style a lot more harder to read. So it gives Izzy more to think about, and Rob's not going to be as susceptible for the counter.
Yeah, man. And but you look at Izzy and the way he reads it, if he can slow it down to his own timing and get it basically similar to the last fight, or even just that tiny bit slower, like he'll time him, and I think he'll take him out again, because you look at the way he shuts everyone down, like people that are used to fighting high-level fighters, but they just look terrible in front of Izzy, looking at Costa and Yoel and these guys, they just can't work him out. They can't beat his timing. So let's see if Rob can get past that incredible timing and athletic ability, man. It's a very interesting fight.
Oh, it's going to be an absolute cracker. I'm super excited for it. And yeah, like we said, it's just, I think it might just be one of the things, but Izzy just has Rob's number. Like, it's just a bad stylistic matchup. Like, you always have the things where I think Rob might beat everyone else in the division fairly comfortable, but Izzy might just be that one stylistic matchup that you just can't get over sort of thing.
Yeah, man. So what do you think? What's your final call? Who's going to take it and how and when?
I'm going to have to go Izzy, and I think it all depends how Rob shows up. I think if Rob does mix everything up, he's going to survive a lot longer. And I could see going to a decision, and it's going to be a closer fight. But if Rob comes in with the same strategy and just thinks he's going to just strike with Izzy again and catch him like this, he thinks he might have found a hole or something he can exploit, I think it's going to be an early night for him. So I'll go somewhere in between. So I'm going to say 3rd round KO by Izzy.
All right, Mr. Trader Colby Thicknesse. I'm going for the Australian. I'm going for Rob Whittaker, based on the fact that he's been doing so well. He's basically clearing out the division without being the champion, right? Like that's his only speed bump is Israel, and he's got the skills to beat him. I think he has the skills to beat Israel. It depends on his mindset and whether he's really taken a good hard look at the last fight and implemented a new game plan to go forward to utilize his grappling. So I'm tipping that they've done their work and done their homework on the last fight, done their homework on Izzy, and they're going to say, okay, what's our strength against Izzy? It's grappling. So this time we're not going to try and take his head off. We're going to work in somehow, stand up to grapple and, control on the ground. So that's what I'm tipping. I'm tipping a points win for Whittaker.
Yeah, nice. Fingers crossed we get this fight. I think they're saying January. I think they're looking at, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what the last thing I read too was January. Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Cool, bro. Thanks for your time again and your details or your thoughts on the fight, bro.
All good, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man.